안녕하세요 여러분, Korean Study Junkie입니다. Welcome back or welcome to another lesson, another this versus that lesson, where we break down a word, a concept, or a grammar structure that is usually quite similar to each other and usually commonly confused with another. Today, I thought it might be nice to look at the months. 달, 개월, and 월, which if you were to look it up in a translator or a dictionary would probably all just be translated as month. So quite confusing, as you can imagine. Let's go through it then. We're going to start with 달, which honestly that's like my favorite word for month. I don't know, it just sounds nice. And when I hear the word 달, I literally picture a moon in my head, because 달 also means moon, if you didn't know. So 달 is used for an amount of months. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, that sort of thing. With these, we're going to use the native Korean number system. So that's 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯, so on, so forth. That being said though, 달 is usually used with 1, 2, 3, 4 months. Only those like first 4 months usually. But technically you can just go on and on a lot further with that if you want to. But more commonly in like spoken Korean, they only use it for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. So 한 달, 두 달. If you're not familiar with the concept of counters in Korean, you may not know this, but when a counter word, which 달 is a counter word, is used with a number, we have to shorten the first 4. So instead of 하나 달 or 둘 달, they get shortened to 한 달 and 두 달. So do the other 2. Only the first 4 numbers are like this. And there are 2 different forms. The second form is a little bit more formal to me, but I feel like it's often used more in writing rather than speaking, but that, So, hold on, let me put a space here. I think there was a space here originally. Yeah, these are the forms I was talking about, just these 2. So 3 months, it's usually 세 달, is used more in speaking, but that second form, 석 달, I'm gonna be honest, I have not seen that ever. So that's why I assume it's like either it's super old and outdated or it's very formal. And then 네 달, 4 months. And then the more less used option, 넉 달. So those are the most commonly used ones, 1 through 4. Technically, you can go on. You could say 다섯 달, 여섯 달, 일곱 달. I gotta be honest, like 다섯 달 is pretty like the maximum where it feels okay to use 달 with it. But technically, you can go on and on using the native numbers and using 달. Now, 달 is also just used as the word for month in general. So when we're talking about this month, next month, last month, this is usually the go-to word you want to use. 이번 달, not 이달, but 이번 달. When we're referring to a period of time and we're saying this month, this summer, we want to use 이번 instead of just 이. 이번 여름, this summer, 이번 봄, this spring, so on and so forth. 이번 주, 이번 주말, this week, this weekend, 다음 달, next month, 지난 달, last month, you get it. Used as the word for month in general. So you shouldn't try to use any of these other ones, 개월 or 월, for the word month, right? Now on to 개월. So this one is almost interchangeable with 달, but it's kind of the same thing we're talking about with 달, where only used is more commonly used, I'll say, with a certain number, with certain numbers. So when we're talking about months 5 and up, so we'll say 한 달, 두 달, 세 달, 네 달, but then we won't say 다섯 달. We'll skip ahead and we'll say 5개월, 5 months, 6개월, 6 months, 7개월, 8개월, 9개월, and so on and so forth. And this is usually an amount of months as well, right? 10개월, 11개월, 12개월. Technically, you can go on as long as you need to. Now, Now, 월, this you might be thinking would be the word for month because you might see it more often, but this is actually used for the months of the year. So when we're using 월, we're going to do Sino. Oh, I forgot to mention. I mean, you could see, but K-월, we do Sino-Korean numbers. And then 월, we're also going to do Sino-Korean numbers. So 1월 means literally it's the number 1 plus the word month. So month 1 is January. 2월, month 2, February. 3월, 4월, 5월. And then June, the spelling changes to 6월, not 6월. We take the K out. 6월 for June, and all the way to October. Also, the spelling will change here. Instead of 10월, it's going to be 10월. Don't ask me why it changes. If you ask me, I don't know for sure, but I feel like the the pronunciation is just easier like that. 10월, 6월, you know. And maybe like 6월, that sounds like a whole other word now. 10월. It sounds like a whole other word now. So it could be sometimes spelling changes or pronunciation changes to prevent confusion or mistaking things for something else. So that could be one of those things as well. But yeah, so to recap, 달 is used for an amount of months, but usually only months 1 through 4. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. 개월 is also used for an amount of months, but this time it's used with the Sino numbers, and it's used for talking about the months starting from 5 months and 6 months, 7 months, and up. It's more commonly used. So as even though with 달 you can say 5달, 6달, 7달, and so on, it doesn't feel as natural, or yeah, it doesn't feel as natural. And even though you can say 1개월, 2개월, 3개월, 4개월, it doesn't feel as natural with 개월. And then 달 is also used as the word month, the actual word month. Of all the ones you look up from these three, they all are going to be translated as month, but 달 is the only one that's actually used as the word month. This month, next month, last month. 개월 is not the same. 개 is actually a counter word, as we were talking about before. If you've studied them before, you know 개 means thing, general thing. So 개월 comes together to be another counter word for an amount of months. And then lastly, 월 is used for the months of the year. So quite different. You're not going to use that to say months, like 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. You're not going to use 월 for that at all, because then you just be saying the months of the year by accident, which is not what we want. That's all for today's lesson. Look forward to many, many more lessons like this versus that. I even have a playlist that I made on the channel if you want to check that out. At the end of this video, I'm going to link another video I think you would like. If you needed this one, you probably also need this next one I'm going to recommend at the end. I will link below a lesson on this if you want to have it written out already for you for a quick reference anytime you need it. Be in the description box. What else? Subscribe, like this video, and please leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next video. 다음에 봐요.